It's Friday morning. We got SmackDown later on tonight. And much like most of the IWC, much like most wrestling fans that witnessed what was the main event of WrestleMania 39, one of the best main events in recent memory, where we saw Cody Rhodes fall to the tribal chief Roman Reigns in his quest to finish his story and finally become WWE Undisputed Universal Champion. As we saw last Sunday night, that did not happen. Roman Reigns retained the championship with a lot of help from the Usos, with a lot of help from Solo Sikoa, but he is still your tribal chief. He is still the Universal Champion, and he will most likely reach and pass 1,000 days by the end of May. So with that said, it's time to discuss what's next in this entire Bloodline storyline. What's the next chapter? Because a lot of people thought that the end was near back at the Rumble when the Bloodline turned on Sami Zayn, and that we were finally going to get Sami Zayn's crowning moment and becoming world champion in Montreal at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. That did not happen. And after that, we thought Cody Rhodes was going to finish his story. And he was going to walk into WrestleMania and walk out for the first time in his family's history as the champion, as the guy on the grandest stage of them all. And that also did not happen. So what is next for Roman Reigns and his family? Well, I think, believe it or not, we are very, very near to the end of this storyline. This is something I might choose to believe, because eventually this story has to end. And the way they've built up to this, I think that by next year's WrestleMania, I'm calling this out right now, I think I called it out in my WrestleMania review as well. Next year's WrestleMania is in Philadelphia, the land of Rocky. If WrestleMania 39 was Rocky 1, where we got a tie between Rocky and Apollo Creed, obviously that wasn't going to happen at WrestleMania for WWE. No ties, because fans would have gone just bananas at the stadium throwing trash at the ring for that. But Rocky beat Apollo in the second one. And this past Monday night on Raw, Paul Heyman mentioned every pay-per-view in WWE except WrestleMania as far as a rematch game for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. So I think that's still looking towards the future. And it's pretty far ahead to consider that. But we'll talk more about Cody Rhodes' journey on Monday, everything that transpired on Monday. But for tonight, I feel that Roman Reigns has to make a statement, and he pretty much planted the seeds this past Monday night on Raw. The Usos failed the bloodline. The Usos failed the family. The Usos failed their tribal chief at WrestleMania. They are no longer the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions. They lost to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. After over 2 months where Roman Reigns has told him, we have to fix this Sami and KO problem. And both Jimmy and Jay have told him in repeated occasions, we will get this done. We are the best tag team in WWE. We're doing this for the family. We're going to take payback for their betrayal, for everything, for getting involved in bloodline business. And this past Monday night on Raw, Paul Heyman informed the Usos that they should rather just wait at the jet for their tribal chief. That Roman Reigns didn't want to see them. Roman Reigns didn't want them involved in anything as far as story came into play on Monday Night Raw. But tonight, I feel like if Roman Reigns is actually going to show up tonight on SmackDown, we see the beginning of the end of this entire story. Because we all know the history, the long history between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. It all started with these two men. The bloodline started with these two men at odds, going head to head. And let's not forget, Jey Uso is still pretty much his own man. He's still, from time to time, rebels against his tribal chief. And make no mistake about it, Roman Reigns cares more about Jey Uso than anybody in the bloodline right now. He knows he can control Jimmy Uso. He knows he can control Solo Sikoa so far. But Jey Uso, he has to keep him at arm's length. Jey's a maverick. He's main event Jey Uso. He's built up that in his head. And as a matter of fact, Jey Uso, during that entire feud, during this entire time in the bloodline, Jey Uso has just grown so much as a singles competitor. Not to the main event just yet. He's not quite main event Jey Uso in the same light as a Randy Orton or in the same light as a Brock Lesnar or whatever. But telling the correct story, telling the right story, Jey Uso will eventually make the bloodline crumble. Because of all the resentment that he holds for his cousin, Roman Reigns, in this entire story that they've been trying to tell to us. Again, I've said this in videos in the past. The bloodline is a family affair. It's a family stable. It started with a family feud. It has to end through family. And whether that be Jey Uso or Solo Sikoa, whichever one, or both, why not pull an evolution? Why not have one of them break away first, then the other? But it's the only way a family mob, which is pretty much what the bloodline has become at this point, can end. I don't think it's going to happen at Backlash. I don't think it's going to happen in Saudi Arabia. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon as far as a one-on-one for the title goes. But I do feel that next year's WrestleMania, if we indeed get the long-awaited rematch between Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, and yes, I do believe Roman Reigns is going to keep that title for at least 1 year more, the entire landscape, everything involving the bloodline will be entirely different. Because the entire stable, the entire family is going to go through all these trials and tribulations, and I'm talking mostly about the Usos and Solo, but yes, towards the end, Roman Reigns as well. And I feel like tonight, we get the very first page in the Bloodline's final chapter. So with that said, do you agree with my theory of Jey Uso is going to start building that resentment against Roman Reigns tonight and in later months, and eventually is going to break away from the bloodline? Or are you more of a thought that you kind of feel like this storyline can just keep going without too much crumbling in the stable itself? Leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comments section below. Like I said, it's Friday morning. We got Friday Night SmackDown later on tonight on Fox. Triple H is set to open the show, and a lot of fans have speculated that it might be a big announcement. I feel like it's going to be a little bit more of what he said on Monday Night Raw, only this time for Fox instead of the USA Network. We'll just have to wait and see. So with that said, leave your thoughts, comments, and predictions in the comment section below. I'm Alexis Carrillo. This has been Wrestling Talk, and have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.